The preferences for a grader project are similar to those for a simulation. The only difference is the options on the Settings tab. Click the Course Materials tab and then locate the grader project. You may need to open folders to navigate to the project. On the right side of the project, click the Options arrow to display the Options dialog box. From the displayed menu, click Edit. Click the Preferences tab. Under Grading, you can specify the Record the Score in the gradebook, set the threshold score to pass, and display icon in Student Grades area based on threshold mastery score to pass. Specify the number of attempts. The Record this score in the gradebook option is accessed from the drop-down list. You can choose which score you want to appear in the gradebook for an activity that allows multiple submissions. You can show the highest score of all submissions, this is the default setting, the lowest score, the first complete submission, the last or more recent submission score, or an average of all submissions. If you check the checkbox for Set Threshold Mastery Score to pass, you may enter a threshold score that students must obtain to pass an activity. By default, the score requires a passing grade of 70%. To change it, click the text box and enter the percent of your choice. You can uncheck this option so that no passing threshold is set. If the option is cleared, no pass-fail icons will appear in the gradebook or within the activity summary results page. Under Number of Attempts, you can specify the number of attempts or select Number of Attempts is unlimited. In the Specify Number of Attempts text box to the right, you can type the number of attempts you will allow students for the activity. The default setting is 2. If you click the Option button to the left of Number of Attempts is Unlimited, students may submit the activity an unlimited number of times. The next option on the setting window is Feedback. By clicking the check mark in the checkbox for Display Total Possible Points for each question, you allow students to see the assigned point value for each question while they are completing the activity. Note, unchecking this option does not hide the project grade in the student gradebook. Hiding the grade is done in the instructor gradebook and is covered in another video. There are 5 options under General: Display Resource Toolbar, Enable Activity Tools, Include in Course Plan Scoring, Enable Late Submissions, and Enable Grace Period. Display Resource Toolbar is deselected by default, as this option is used only in language course MyLabs. It is not an option in My IT Lab. Leave it unchecked. Include in Course Planning Scoring is checked by default. However, My IT Lab does not use a course plan, so this has no effect. Enable Activity Tool allows you to view or create new activity tools for students. Clicking the box to the left of Enable Late Submissions allows students to submit an activity after the due date. As an instructor, you can decide to accept the grade after the due date or edit the student grades in the gradebook to reflect any partial credit for late submissions. Enable Grace Period allows teachers to define the grace period for settings for late submissions and eliminates the need to manually accept each late submission. Amount to detect: enter the points percentage that should be deducted. Default is 0%. A maximum of 3 whole numbers, for example 100, can be used. For every, enter the time period after which the deduction should be applied. Select hour, day, or week. Default is 1 day. Maximum deduction: enter the maximum points percentage that should be deducted from the score. Default is 100%. For example, if the amount to deduct is 10% and the time period selected is 2 days, the score for a submission that is 3 days late will be 20% less than the actual score the student obtained. If it is 4 days late, 30% will be deducted from the score. Note, this option is only available if Enable Late Submission is also enabled. When you are finished changing your preferences, click Save and Return. This concludes the video on setting preferences for grader activities.